In this just-in-time training Tech Byte, we are going to cover the operation of how to import student course requests. This operation is done in MMS Generations. So let's take a look. We find this operation under Scheduling Jobs, Operations, and Import Course Requests from the Parent Portal Requests table. One thing that you need to be aware of is that you need to be in your scheduling year, your new school year. This is a common problem when schools are working on their new courses and their new schedules, is that they will default to the current school year. So we do not want to import anything for the current school year. So you need to make sure that you move to your new school year. Now let's take a look and go to Scheduling Jobs, Operations, and Import Course Requests. When I was first learning about this operation, I thought it was going to be a pretty simple operation where you come in and you click Import, and all those requests from the student and the parent portals would come into the MMS system. It's so much more than that. This is a very useful tool, and it will enable you to better manage this registration process. So there are two tables here, and the first one is the course request table, and the second one is the course transfer status. Now let's take a look at the course request table. I can see here that I have 13 students. Now my student count is just going to show me those students who have logged in through either the student or the parent portal, logged in through the registration process, and have selected at least one course. Just logging in will not trigger them to be included in the student count. The next number I see is the number of students who have finalized. Now this number is the students that have finalized since the last time I have performed this import operation. I've already ran this operation a couple of times. So since the last time I've done this, 3 students have finalized their schedules. Excellent. What I see below is that we have 3 students who have logged into the system, selected a couple of courses, but have not finalized their requests yet. Now in the course transfer status, I see those same 13 students, but I have imported already a total of 27 course requests amongst the students that have already been processed because they have finalized their records. I have rejected 6 course requests, and we'll show you how you can do that. And that we've had a total of 16 errors for courses that students have selected, and for whatever reason the system has rejected them. And we'll talk and we'll see an example of an error that you may encounter. Really, errors don't happen that often. When you are opening up your registration, you set the minimum number of credits that a student needs to select as well as a maximum. MMS will not allow them to finalize those records if they are either over or under those limits that you set. But we'll talk about what those errors can be. For the import operation, we have some options here to select, and let's review what those are. So the first one is confirm course requests as they are processed. We're going to select that, so you'll see what that does for you. But what it is so when we run this import, I have 3 students that finalized. So for those 3 students, I'm going to see their requests, and I'll be able to reject individual courses that they may have selected. I can accept them all, or I can reject them all. The second option is to display errors immediately on the screen. As I said, that doesn't happen too often. One example of an error that may display is that if a student has selected some courses but they have been set inactive for scheduling, MMS will not bring those course requests into the system. And the last option I strongly recommend that you select is that to include successfully transferred records into the log table. Now once we perform our import operation, this button will be available to us. It'll be bright green colored, so it will be readily apparent that we can click on that and see information. What we will see with this option here is that it will not only display the errors that I've seen, but also give you a record of the students and the courses that have been accepted. By printing off this log, it will give you the ability to be able to go in and verify when a student's records have been pulled into the system. The last option that we are not going to select would be the option that you would select when you are at the end of that registration process and you need to import in all the course requests, whether the student has finalized them or not. Just to restate, you would select this one the last time that you want to import in records. So we're going to leave that one unchecked. You can set a student range, but what I'm going to do is just pull in the requests of the students that have finalized. So leaving my student range untouched, it will just pull in those 3 students. So I'm going to leave all 3 of these options selected, and let's import and see what happens. We have this wonderful MMS alert window, just making sure that we want to pull in the course requests for the new school year. So yes, we want to. And this is our first student who has finalized their course requests. So we can see all the courses that Jason has selected, and we can, I just clicked on art, so it deselected everything. So let's hold our control key down and reselect all his courses. But holding that control key down, we can deselect art. So this will become a rejected course for Jason, but the others will be accepted. We have the option of just accepting them all or rejecting them all. So let's actually reject a couple of his classes. We're going to click OK, and then we're going to go to our next student. So here's our error message. We're getting a student is inactive for scheduling. Now another error message that may happen is if a student goes and selects a course and then the catalog table changes and that course is no longer available for the student, so it's been deleted. That would cause an error. As I said, this doesn't happen very often, but I thought I would give you an example. So we don't know which student, but we know that we have an error message that a student was set inactive for scheduling. And this is going to happen for each course that that student requested. Here's my third student. I can see that their courses right in front of me, and again, I could hold down my control key and deselect any or all courses if I wanted, but I'm going to accept all of Donald's classes by clicking on the Accept All. And that finalizes my students. Here, these figures have changed. We still see the 13 students. That's going to stay the same until more students have finished the process. In this import that we just did, we had a total of 13 courses transferred. Those were my 2 students. We had number of courses rejected. Those were the 2 courses that we deselected on that first student. And then we had 3 errors during the transfer, and that was the student who was set inactive for scheduling, and all 3 of their records were rejected. So now I can see here my print log table. Let's click on that, and we can see the first student. We can see the 2 records that were rejected for his. It was Kevin Artman, who was set inactive for scheduling, and his 3 course requests were rejected. And then we have Donald, who all of his courses were added to the student schedule record. So I have my output option here to preview to screen. What I should have done is set it to a PDF file and preview that PDF file. So I'll be able to preview it, but also it will save it as a PDF document so I can maintain my record that way without having to print. I could have printed from that other screen. And that is the import process. So for that last time that you want to import records, you're going to click that, and that would pull in my 3 students who hadn't finalized yet. I'm not going to do that right now because my registration process is still open. But I am going to exit out of here, and one last operation that you're going to want to do once everything has been pulled in from the portals is you're going to come to Scheduling Jobs, Operations, and you're going to go to Clear Student Course Requests from the parent portal. And that will clear out those records. If you had a student who did have errors and you needed to remove those records, what you would do is select this option of only records that have been rejected, set your student range to those students, and I don't think you would have to do anything with the date range. If you have that and your student range and clear data, those students can then go back out into the parent or the student portals and reselect their courses. And I hope you found this Tech Byte helpful, and thank you very much for joining me.